Alright, so today we're discussing some of the real pros and cons of living in Marathon, Florida in 2023. And these are some of the things you're going to want to consider before you make the move here. So stick around because it's going to be good. Alright, so we will start with the pros first, and number one is going to be, the scenery and the climate. There's no secret that we have beautiful oceans, stunning sunsets, great weather. Living in Marathon really does feel like you're living in paradise. And trust me, you never get tired of looking at, the ocean or feeling the warm breeze in the air. But one of the best things I think is actually when it rains. It's usually at night here, so you could go out in the day still and enjoy the day, and then at night while you're sleeping it rains. So I think that's pretty awesome. In the summer, it does get pretty hot and humid, but I actually like the summer months better than the winter months. There's like less people, and I think it's less windy, and I think the water's better. And then in the winter months, you really can't beat 75, 80 degrees in the winter. So yeah, number one is definitely the weather. Alright, coming in number two is low crime. Marathon is a very safe island to live on. I never feel unsafe when I'm out walking about or doing my errands in the city. We have, like all cities, we have a little bit of crime, but usually it's quite minimal, and the acts are pretty insignificant. So it's a very safe area. Alright, number three is the simple life, the slow pace. So when you live in Marathon, you are on island time. So everything moves a little bit slower here in the Keys. There's not a whole lot of options to get things, so it does take a little bit longer. And we don't have a ton of chain stores and things like that. So you're gonna have to order, things online and kind of wait for them to get delivered to you. And then when you're out, we're not really fancy here. Almost everybody is in shorts and flip-flops all the time. It's like too hot to wear anything else. But the one thing about Marathon is you could be standing next to someone who's like a millionaire. Did I say that right? And you wouldn't even know it. We're really not fancy down here. People aren't trying to dress to impress per se. So I thought it'd be a good idea to video this outside, but I don't know, there's a truck going on right now, so anyway. Alright, let's get on to number four. Moving on to number four is the water. Right? That's why we're here. That's why people come here, is the water. We have a huge range of water sports: diving, snorkeling, swimming, world-class fishing. It's, you can get all of those activities right here on the island. Canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding, you can do that in numerous locations. And then, of course, we have our awesome reef. That's it's the third largest coastal barrier system on the planet, and it's the only reef system actually found in the entire United States. So that is pretty awesome. So yeah, the water. Alright, we are on number five. And number five is exploring. Living in the Florida Keys has been really an absolute blast. And one of the most unforgettable things that I have gotten to do is to go explore all the other little islands around Marathon. And yeah, you need a boat to get there, but it's pretty cool to get to see some of these places. They're really unique, and they're little slices of paradise that you never actually knew existed. And you're gonna have the time of your life, and it's sure gonna be an adventure that you're never gonna forget. And it's something that I will treasure for a lifetime. So yeah, go exploring. Number six is community. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Marathon really does have a strong knit sense of community, and the city and the people in it actually go above and beyond all the time. They hold events for the families and the kids, and they're always giving the kids free snacks, free food, and really providing for them. Also, there's not a whole lot of people that live here full time, so you get to know everybody really quick, and everyone is generally just friendly and eager to help out. Number 7 is seafood. Of course, we have to have food on the list, but if you're a seafood lover like me, then living in Marathon is an absolute dream come true. There's lots of fresh fish to choose from, and there's really no shortage of supply on the catch of the day. One of my favorite places to go is Keys Fish. I love to get the stone crab up at the bar in the evening. So get your seafood on. All right, our last positive or pro for living here in Marathon is that it is a quaint little town, small town, and although we don't have a lot of stores and things like that, we do have the basics. We have the grocery store and Home Depot, kind of everything that you need. But one of the really best things, or my favorite things, is that it's so easy to get from one place to another, and it only takes about 15 minutes to get through the whole island. My office is just like 5 minutes away from the house, and living on an island definitely spoils you. You come to expect everything to be close by. I can't imagine, going back to having to drive 30 minutes just to get to work. No, it's not gonna happen anymore. No, I'm not doing it. Alright, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty stuff, the cons. And number 1, the elephant in the room, of course, is the housing market and the cost of living. Yeah, Marathon is expensive. In the past 2 years, the house prices basically doubled, and then that extended on to the rent as well. So it really makes it tough to make your money go far here. It's not uncommon for the locals or people living here to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. If you're going to stay in Marathon for a long time and you know that and you have the funds available, I would suggest you actually just buy something right off the bat. Finding a place to rent in Marathon can be such a big challenge, and for your money, it's not going to be all that impressive. And often what happens is you're renting a place and then the owner decides they want to sell, so you're having to move every year or so and find a new place. So it can be a real pain in the butt. So if you have the money, you want to stay here in the Keys, just buy something. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a real estate agent, it's true. Anybody would tell you that. Okay, all right, moving along. All right, number 2 is the tourist. Yeah, living in Marathon, you're gonna know real quick who lives here and who doesn't. Our high season runs from January to April, and during that time, the town is just crazy with visitors. As a local, we have a little love-hate relationship with the tourists. On one hand, they keep our businesses going and thriving, which is all great and stuff. But on the other hand, everyday tasks like going to the grocery store, going to the post office, running errands, can be a real hassle when there's long lines and you've got to sit there and wait. And then, of course, if you happen to live next to a vacation rental, you get some new neighbors every week. And sometimes those neighbors are not always the most considerate visitors. When people are on vacation, sometimes they get a little rowdy. So, yeah, tourists can be, like I said, it's a love-hate relationship. So con number 3 is the lack of seasons. When you live in Marathon, it kind of feels like time stands still. Did I say that right? Time stands still. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, but there's no seasons here, so it kind of makes every day feel the same. And that can get a little monotonous at times. So that's number 3. Number 4 is isolation. When you're living here at Marathon, you'll often hear us talk about how we need to get off the rock every now and then. So not a lot changes down here. You find yourself going to the same restaurants and the same hangouts. And, every once in a while, it's nice to take a break from the island life and kind of, venture to the mainland for a change, go to Target, do some other different types of shopping and kind of get out there. So, yeah, once in a while, you're going to want to get off the rock. Number 5, the job market. There's not a whole lot of job opportunities here in the Florida Keys. You know, it's kind of limited. The majority of jobs are in the hotel and service industry. So if you're able to secure a job that allows you to work remotely from anywhere, that would be your best bet for employment in this area. Number 6 is that it's not just paradise. When you look online in Marathon, you're going to see all these beautiful pictures of the water and the luxury houses and the sunsets. However, once you actually get down here, you're going to encounter parts of Marathon that aren't so lovely. There's a really big wealth gap in Marathon between the rich and the poor. And a lot of times, like the houses down here, you've got these beautiful custom-built homes right next to a mobile home or a really old conch house. So it's definitely a mix of different types of properties all around. There's not just like one specific area where all the houses are nice. I mean, there's a few neighborhoods like that, but you know, a lot of the streets in Marathon are mixed. And then another thing is there's not really any place to walk around. You know, if you want to go riding a bike, it's kind of dangerous to ride your bike on US 1 and even walk on US 1. So there's no real great places to walk on the streets in Marathon. They have parks and things like that, and that's where you walk. But walking on the streets down US 1, it's really not safe. Number 7, healthcare. If you have any major medical conditions, don't come to Marathon. I know we have Fisherman's Community Hospital, but it's really not equipped to handle any major emergencies. So if you have a chronic condition and you need to see the doctor often, Marathon is not for you. Let me tell you, you do not want to drive 2 hours in time of a medical emergency just to get some help. It's not worth it. So any major health issues, don't come to Marathon. So number 8, I'm calling the Bubba System. It's basically all you know in this town. In Marathon, the city has a tendency to selectively enforce its code ordinances. Sometimes, you know, they turn a blind eye on certain situations, while on other issues or situations, they strictly enforce it. As a local, it can be incredibly frustrating to get the city of Marathon to take action. However, if you happen to have some connections, you know, somebody on the city council, or you're friends with the right people, you know, you'll have an easier time getting things done. It's definitely not a fair system. Alright, so that's it. Those are my pros and cons of living here in Marathon. If you like this content and you want more, be sure to say so in the comments, hit like and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. Amy and Tom over at Coldwell Banker. We'll see you around town.